All right, so continuing our journey into the my controllers. We have my Xbox controllers. Take a second. All right, there we go. So here are my controllers right here. I have the Xbox. It's a This is not actually regular Xbox controller. This is a wired Xbox controller. Basically the same, only without the extra things to let you connect Xbox accessories, and it's no battery pack. It's wired only. So, but we're gonna start. But other than that, it kind of feels pretty much exactly the same. Uh, it's a little clickier, kind of up here. On all sides, actually, it's a little bit clickier, except for maybe the D-pad. I think the D-pad's actually somehow worse than the base Xbox D-pad, which was already pretty freaking terrible. But beyond that, moving, it's a very clicky controller all around. All of these have the offset sticks, which I think are absolutely an amazing thing to have and should be on all controllers ever. I don't care if you're offset this way. Hell, even both up here is better than having two down here. But offset either way is good, as long as they're offset. Next, we got the Xbox Series X controller. It's clicky. Basically, the big addition between these two, it has a share button, really, and it has a much nicer D-pad. This is one of the nicest D-pads out there in my opinion. It's all one solid piece, and and unless you're playing fighting games, that's very much a good thing because you can just very easily swipe. I don't know. I like being able to just kind of rotate my finger almost the same as if I was using a older, especially joystick. Then both of these kind of not straight down, but kind of edged out here. It's kind of hard to see, especially because they are pure black, but like it bends in, and it just feels like a very comfortable way to rest your finger. Up here, what I'd say, especially look at the control here. So like when you rest here, it's actually a little bit harder to move your finger up to press the bumper here. Whereas this one, it's literally your fingers basically resting on top of it. All you gotta do is flick it up rather than almost move your whole finger here. Just a little bit easier for our tiny little freaking tiny difference, but it does feel like a difference. What does make a big difference, though, is the grip. Now, you can't quite see it because I have a shitty camera with shitty lighting, but there is a textured grip along this whole bottom part of this controller, and it feels amazing, especially since it already comes with the console. It's a great system. Hell, I think this one even works on regular Xbox, on a regular Xbox One. Next, there's also the fact that these are batteries. I can replace it with a battery pack if I want to, but I like the fact that you have the choice, and it has a pretty damn good battery life even on batteries. Plus, hey, unlike say a controller that only runs charge, or that only runs batteries, unlike a controller that only runs charge, you can say you're in the middle of a game. Instead of having to find a place, plug it in, you can pop it out, grab some batteries, throw the batteries in. Sometimes a bit easier for me, typically speaking, because I have just buy a big pack of batteries for your controller anyway. So, next we have the Elite controller. This one, lots of grip. You can even see it on my shitty camera. Has the same kind of D-pad here right now, but this D-pad's removable and I can swap it with a regular cross-shaped D-pad. Next, we have the sticks. These sticks are hot swappable. I am using not the base sticks. I'm using a slightly wider stick. But I know a lot of people tend to use like a tall stick right here for their shooters. But personally, I'd rather have a small wide one. I cannot get over like how much I have to stretch my finger up for the tall stick. So, and then other things, 4 extra buttons can be programmed to any button here. You can see them on the bottom, and these are also detachable. So, like right here, that's what one of them looks like, detached. Next, there is a switch you can kind of see right above the D, right above the your bumpers. There's this switch right here, and what that does is switch it all the way up. It's normal mode. This goes all the way down. Switch it all the way down though, only goes this far down, and it's essentially like a button, which is really nice for, again, like shooters. You can go, and it's perfectly fine, even more of a casual shooter or anything else. But for racing games, you'd rather have it all the way up, so you can kind of control how much throttle you're giving it. Has the same basic shape as this one does. For the bumpers, I'd say the bumpers are actually a little bit better on this one. It's probably my favorite bumper. The Series X as my favorite bumper, oddly enough. But it's not that different. Again, like even the base one isn't that different. It's a very tiny change. This one has 3 different modes. So instead of having a share button, you have a mode switch button. So you can just like hot swap between any 3 different things that you've programmed into it using the Xbox app. So you can change what these do. You can change your dead zones, whatever else, through the app, and just kind of hot swap through them. So, I mean, like, for instance, if you had a, I don't know if you can change your sensitivity, but for instance, you have to move really fast, that's a mode. Need to snipe, that's a mode, and you can change it hot swap in the middle of game. So that's kind of a neat thing to do. At least if you can change sensitivity. I've never actually bothered messing with that hard, but I feel like that's something you should be able to do. If not, whatever. At the very least, as you change games, you don't have to go into the setting. You can be like, well, for Warframe, I like having my slide buttons down at the bottom rather than up here. I'd rather use slide buttons down at the bottom. But for most everything else, I want to use ABXY down here so that I can keep all my things on my face buttons. Or say for Modern Warfare, I want to have this button right here down here so that I can keep my fingers on down here, keep my fingers on my sticks. Little things like that. And you'd obviously give up one of your ABXYs when you do that, but that's fine because that's what you want it for. So, yeah. There we go. And these are my setups. Honestly, overall, it's pretty much in order of here to here to here. As far as which ones I like best, this one's the most basic. It's wired. It's basically, I got it because it was $20 and I needed an extra controller that night. This one came with the system. Really fucking good. This one, absolutely amazing, though I have heard lots of reports of it failing. Mine has not failed yet, but I have heard lots of reports. That said, it is really expensive, and frankly, unless you have like the urge to waste, I think I paid $160, and unless you have to have the urge to waste $160 for a controller that isn't that much better. Like there are comparable third-party controllers if you're really competitive and want to use controllers, and then for less. And then there are it was a bad impulse buy overall, but it was still the best controller I have of the 3. Like if I wanted a better controller for cheaper, I probably could have got it. but I just kind of saw it at Walmart. And I'm like, oh, hey, that's cool. I kind of want one, and I bought it. I don't know. It's a better controller, but meh, that's just me. It's the best controller, but frankly, it's not so much better than this one that I would justify paying that much money for it. You know, I guess that's the best way I can think of to put that.